right, moving on from the awards portion of the show to probably the more interesting portion to most people. We're gonna go down between the two of us our top three favorite reveals slash announcements from the show. It could be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be a new game, um, but we'll go kind of back and forth here. I'll send it to you first, Pat. What is one of the games that you wanted to highlight that they talked about?
Man, it was kind of tough because there was a lot of really cool stuff between the sequel to Control or a new Mega Man game after how long, forever it feels like.
Hmm.
But I ended up going with trying to keep mostly newer titles, at least titles from that aren't from like a series that I'm at least interested in. But my first pick was one that showed up early on and caught all of our attention. It's called Bradley the Badger.
Hmm.
It's a 3D platformer, at least from what I could tell, where you're a badger and you're making your way through different types of games. We had, Bloodborne, slash Soulsborne mock up. We had a Last of Us mock up. And then when we actually saw gameplay of it past the trailer, it looked like it was using some really cool ideas as for how to like. It looked like, and I have to go back and rewatch the trailer, but it looked like it gave him some sort of like game designer tool where he could,
Hmm.
play with the world in fun ways to make platforming easier. And it felt like it almost like open. I need to see more before I really say that like you can play it your way because I'm not entirely sure how accurate that is. But it's from you're gonna have to correct me on this. The guy that made some sort of game.
Mario plus Rabbids. That's it.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yep.
And you can definitely kind of see some of that in some of the design
Oh,
choices.
for sure.
But some other overlap with that in Mario plus Rabbids is Grant Kirkhope, who, if you don't know, did a lot of music, very famously for Banjo Kazooie, which is one of my favorite like soundtracks from that era. He's doing the music for this, so I'm definitely very interested in what this is going to turn out to be.
Mm. This one for me looked incredible. I'm not even the biggest platforming guy, so that for me to get me that to be super interested in it, you really have to have something there.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me a lot of the way Split Fiction works.
Mm.
For those of you guys who don't know, like a part of the structure of Split Fiction is like you go in and out of these different stories in their mind, and what that plays out is like very different aesthetics and gameplay mechanics in each little section that you went in, and they kind of had a similar thing going on in this one, which seems very interesting from a gameplay perspective because that's another one that could have won. Well, I guess I don't know if you apply that to indie. I think you probably do, but
Mm-hmm.
another one that's a really incredible game where it does of all of the games that I played this year, it's from a mechanical perspective by far the best game. I mean, it was incredible the amount of different kinds of games sections that it allowed you to play, and this kind of
Yeah,
has a lot of that kind of same thing going on there.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. What was one that you were looking forward to? Where do you want to
I have to
start?
go with the obvious number one for me, uh, being Divinity, which if you watched our last episode, we saw that the Hellstone, as they call it, the statue that was out in the desert, turned out to be for this new Divinity game from Larian, which we're gonna have a separate segment where we talk about some of the stuff that Sven Vink said after the fact, but I'll kind of just focus on the trailer here in this one. And I want to just say off the top, an absolute bold move by Larian and Sven coming off of Baldur's Gate 3, like considered revolutionary, best RPG in recent times, so many great things, and they come out with just this over the top, gory, uh, borderline like sexual tones. I'm not gonna say pornographic, but sexual stuff going on, like sacrificing a guy at the altar. They absolutely took a swing and said, "We're just gonna go for it," and that's
Mm-hmm.
incredible to see from a studio. It's also in a game series which Larian has. I want to say, is it five or six games?
I was just
I
looking
think
at
it's
this.
six.
I think it
It's
is six.
it's Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity, Dragon Commander, Original Sin 1, Original Sin 2, and Divinity 2, I believe. So six,
Yes.
that is.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Um, and this was just a cinematic trailer. showing this kind of like festival that they were having where they sacrificed this guy and it caused,
Bad
they're not
things.
called demons in the divinity world, but uh, demon-esque stuff to come out.
Hmm.
Uh, this brought up a lot of speculation about what the game's going to be about because they didn't show any gameplay or anything like that. But we'll come back to that later, like I said. But this looked incredible. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, Larian's really shown their stuff the last, I'd say, last three titles. I mean, you look at both Divinity Original Sin games, like, people will very openly acclaim Original Sin 2 as one of the best game RPGs, and then Baldur's Gate comes out, and so like for them to really nail the formula in Baldur's Gate 3 after already more or less nailing it in Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, and then being able to return back to their universe and use everything they learned from Baldur's Gate 3 and without the shackles, that's a direct quote of World of War, or not World of Warcraft,
Right.
Dungeons and Dragons. um, I think is extremely exciting, and just based on what they described it at the Game Awards and what they've been talking about today and yesterday recently, very excited. This had a really good showing at the show.
Hmm. And it's only one of the two games they've got. We don't know what the other one's going to be yet,
Mm,
but
true.
everyone was speculating Divinity and something new. So
Hmm.
we'll wait to see what their next one is. Their other game, I should say. What do you got up second on your list?
I had to. This one was kind of a dark horse for me. I wasn't exactly expecting to put it on this list, but I did. I put it's Gang of Dragon. If this game, if you saw the trailer for this, and you're like, that looks like Yakuza, that's because it almost is.
It did. It
Um,
looked like it.
so it a couple. I forget exactly when this happened, but the creator of the Yakuza series, Toshihiro Nagoshi, left Ryuga Gotoku to form his own studio. This is their first game. So again, if this felt like Yakuza, I guarantee that's intentional.
100%.
I'm looking at some of these screenshots on a Steam page, and it's like, I mean, this just looks. There's only like 5 screenshots right now, but um, if you're telling me that the guy that made some of the best brawler 3D brawlers of all time, uh, and he's got a new project that's completely his own. He's not being held back by like Sega or whatever holding him back. I have a feeling this could be a really great set. This is either going to be really good, or it's going to be like a
Hmm.
7 out of 10. We're going to forget about it in like 3 years. Either way, I'm excited for it.
Like this is like giving Watchdog vibes in that sense. It's like the trailer comes out, it looks
Mm.
incredibly credible graphically, like they're gonna do this big thing, and then you're like, actually, it's kind of okay. Oh, I guess Watch Dogs 1 was kind of bad when it came out, but
I would even say I would compare it to like Watch Dogs Legion, where the concept sounds really
Mhm.
cool, and then no one talks about it, like 2 months later.
But I actually I was, I mean, we were talking about graphical fidelity earlier and it
Hmm.
not mattering, but in this trailer, which was like a mix of mostly cinematic and a little bit of gameplay, if I remember correctly,
Mm.
but from a fidelity perspective, looked incredible. Like I was really impressed by that part of it. The gameplay itself, I don't know if that one really will do it for me if it's something that I'm gonna play, but
Hmm.
it looked really interesting.
Yeah. No, and if it's got any sort of goofiness, it looked like the trailer was a bit exaggerated in what this guy can do. So I mean,
Sure.
it looks like it's going to contain a lot of the DNA that Yakuza has going for it. So I'm keeping an eye on it. We'll see how it goes. Well, let's throw it back to you, Austin. What's another one from your list?
This has got to be maybe, I mean, Divinity was really big. That was one of the big ones. This is maybe the top three for sure. Is now I'm gonna hold on, sorry. I messed something up here. Is the new Star Wars game, Fate of the Old Republic.
Mm.
Which it's gonna be a single player game with Casey Hudson, who famous for, I didn't know he worked on KOTOR, but we found that out when they announced
Mm-hmm.
this. And he was also the head for the Mass Effect series. And technically he was also the head of Anthem for a while, but we pretend like he pretends like that didn't happen. Uh, and they didn't give us any gameplay. This later was Jason Schreier said they had just founded the studio recently, and so this is kind of just spinning itself up. But I mean, as you know, the two of us have been playing games for a long time now. It's pretty hard to have played as long as we have and not be excited for another game along the lines of KOTOR. And that's, now we're going to get two of them, right? We've got the KOTOR 1 remake coming. Uh,
Hmm.
Unfortunately, or maybe still happening, the KOTOR 2 remake. That's weird. There was an announcement or a leak, I
A
guess, if you want to
leak,
call it
yeah.
that. I think it was in whatever. Maybe, maybe not happening. And now we have, we'll call it like a spiritual successor, I guess. We don't really know a lot of details about it other than the fact that it's coming, but
Yeah.
it is very exciting. Star Wars had a really big showing at this event.
Yeah, they had that racer that got all of us to pop a little bit. I think that looked really cool, especially coming from what was it like Need for Speed and former devs. I forget exactly, but we're here to talk
Burnout.
about Fate of the Old Republic. Like, you kind of nailed it on the head. Like, yeah, I had to look up Casey Hudson. Like after they said, they put his name on there. It's like, well, you don't just put a name on a game share for no reason. Um, and so I had to look it up, and like the last thing he worked on was Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Like, that doesn't count. What about before that? And it was Anthem. Like, well, okay, that's not great. But I mean, he was director on like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and the entire Mass Effect trilogy. Like, that's an incredible, um, gosh, portfolio of games that he's worked on. And that's not to mention that he helped with Baldur's Gate 2, Neverwinter Nights, Jade Empire, like other um, role playing games that you know most gamers plugged into this specific scene, the single player RPGs, are aware of.
Mhm.
So it's something that it definitely perked my attention. Them saying it's coming, or Casey Hudson saying it's coming for 2030, I'm not sure I believe, but I'm excited for it nonetheless. I think there's a lot of really cool potential here if they can nail it.
Right. Yeah. For those who don't know, Jason Schreier put out a tweet after there was so much hype about it, saying they just started the studio and he didn't expect the game till like 2030 or something like that. And he said it mostly sarcastically. Like, I don't think he was being serious and like the idea that it is literally 5 years away. Um, and Casey Hudson himself, I believe, came out after the fact and said, "I promise it's going to be out before 2030" or
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think the sentiment is still probably true. Like, I think you're on the same boat as me. It's probably 28 or 29, which you're right,
Yeah.
Casey. It's not 2030, but it is quite a long ways away. And this is a an announcement that's really far out, which, big IPs like this do it all the time. I mean, we're going to talk about Bethesda and Todd Howard later,
I
and they
mean,
did it with Elder Scrolls 6, and we have no idea when that's coming.
well,
So,
you don't even need to look past Star Wars. I mean, we don't know where the Star Wars, the oh my god, the New Republic game made, or High Republic game being made by the people that did Detroit Become Human. I'm forgetting the studio right now at this point in time, but they showed that like 2 or 3 years ago now. At this point, actually, probably even earlier than that. We still haven't seen anything from that, and also the Knights of the Old Republic remake. That was also
yeah.
announced a few years ago. Like, we haven't heard a
And
thing about. Well,
Casey's old series, Mass Effect. We haven't heard about that one in forever, too, and that's
mm-hmm.
been 3 years at least, maybe four, three
Yeah.
for sure. So,
So
this is a cool
yeah.
one, but don't expect it anytime soon.
No. Yep. 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 Yep.
And that sends it back to you. What do you got? Number three on your list.
I had to pick Order of the Sinking Star. This was the mind fuckery puzzle game that they showed. I forget exactly when in the show, but it's from Jonathan Blow, who was the mind behind Braid and The Witness. And if you've never played, I can only speak to The Witness. I've never played Braid, but The Witness is a very impressive puzzle game, and this looks like it's bringing that sort of mindfuckery, but also with a touch of split fiction, some sort of co-op element. I think I'm not. It looks like it at least. But it's a top-down puzzle game. You're moving these different sorts of blocks around to create paths and platforms and connecting these seemingly different worlds and bring them all together. And they keep they just put out not put out. Hold on, I'm not gonna be able to find it now. But someone's saying that this game's gonna take you like 200 something hours to beat, and it's like, well, dang, that
They
many
said it was like
puzzles.
1,600 puzzles or something like that, right? Like some absurd number of puzzles.
I'm seeing on a Steam page over 1,000 interconnected and crafted puzzles. Um,
Mm.
so this game just looks like seemingly simple, and then having layers that you just keep on discovering, and as you play for hundreds of hours. So this one definitely caught my eye, big time.
And that was the most interesting part is like at first they were showing like individual puzzles that you were doing,
Hmm.
and then at one point it like zooms back and it's showing how like all of these puzzles seemingly are part of one much larger puzzle. Uh, and that kind of puzzleception, puzzle interaction
Yeah,
is like a wholly new concept as far as I can think. And I'm interested to see where, if anywhere, that goes because I can see that it being incredibly fun, but also uh, a serious gameplay problem where, like, if you can't figure out this piece of the puzzle, or you have to pull a piece of the puzzle from four puzzles over to solve this puzzle, like
hmm
that could get hard and troublesome for people real quick.
yeah. Well, I speaking on that, I mean, it kind of gave me like Cocoon vibes, big
Mhm.
time, and I think that game ran the risk of doing what you're talking about, where it's like, oh, I need this, well, I'll grab it, jump out of this orb to then jump out of another orb, and then jump into this orb while I'm carrying this thing. It never ever felt tedious. The way I described it made it probably sound more tedious than it is.
Sure.
So I'm hopeful that this game being like 100 times bigger than that game was, is able to pull that off too. No way to know for sure until we actually play it, but I don't know. I'm excited for it nonetheless.
Indeed.
But you got one more game over there? What are you hiding? Show me.
Oh, this one, it's third on my list, but for specifically next year, because it's only, I guess it's the only one of the three I picked that's going to be out next year.
Mm.
But this one might be my most excited game for 26 as of right now. And that is for the new Lego Batman game, which we've known about and they've already released trailers for, but they released a new trailer with a uh, release date for it in early next year. Let me see, I have to find it here.
Yeah.
It is May 29th, so
Okay.
5 months into 26. I am so excited for this game. I Batman Arkham City is my favorite game of all time, and unfortunately, Rocksteady has decided not to make Arkham games for some reason. And this game is a spiritual successor doesn't really work in this sense because it's Batman. Um, but who would have thought we were getting the next Arkham game from TT Games and it's going to be Lego?
Mm-hmm.
I'm super hyped. I can't believe that this is how we're getting the next game, but I will take it and I will love it all the same.
Yeah.
And the part that, just to, I guess, to explain the game a little bit,
Mm.
it's called Legacy of the Dark Knight. And so it's got all of the different movie Batmans, and kind of like the story beats from their movies and stuff like that. So you get to play as all the different ones and experience the different stuff, and then kind of the mechanics of the Arkham games.
Yeah. No, as a pretty big Batman fan, this has been up there as far as anticipated games go. I know I'm sure we've talked about it on content on this channel before, but um, seeing it here, having finally getting a release date for it, very exciting. It's easily one of my most anticipated games. I think it's really neat how it's drawing elements from not just the Dark Knight movies, but the Michael Keaton movies, and even drawing story elements from some of the games and stuff, while giving you faux Arkham gameplay. Like it just feels, it looks great. It looks phenomenal. So I'm
Mhm.
very excited for this.